makes your garden grow? Water and sunshine. What makes your spirit grow? Knowing that she'll be mine.
Hey guys, welcome back to Freedom Homestead. I'm Jack.
I'm Tangie.
And on this video, we have kind of a major reveal. We had a huge project that we worked on, and this is going to be kind of a big change for our homestead, kind of a new addition for us that we're pretty excited about.
Very excited.
So this all started when a friend of ours, another homesteader, Little Acres Homestead, real nice people. Please go check out they've got a YouTube channel. They're just kind of getting started out with that, but super nice people. They don't live too far from us. They brought us 60 pallets, and with that many pallets, we immediately started brainstorming, what are we going to do? We could do a lot with that much.
Well, we had a few projects in mind that we knew we wanted to attempt.
Yeah.
And whenever we decided that we had enough to start with, Jack just said, let's go for it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take you on this little journey. Just the process of going through what we were creating, fixing, building. We're just going to show you this process, and then we're going to show you the final, the big reveal at the end. But I guess I can go ahead and say what we finally decided to do with all these pallets. We decided to create a whole garden space area, a fence around the garden. Not only just a fence, but kind of a whole area where we could, with seating areas, areas where we could do container gardens and so forth. So I hope the wind's not blowing too bad. But anyway, that's what we're going to use the pallets for.
Yeah, we were inspired by our friends at Kentucky Faith Haven Farm. They have an absolutely beautiful garden area. And I had showed it to Jack and was just like, look at this. And he was like, oh man, if we had some pallets, we could probably do something like that. Well, he did it.
Yeah. Follow us. We're going to show you a few things. So the first step was actually the hardest. I had to sort through all the pallets and try to find out which ones would be best served to make the fence out of, and which pallets weren't in great shape and would be dismantled to use for spare parts. And then I had to closely match up the pallets. So I had to measure them, and just this took almost an entire day to sort through all the pallets and try to line them up and make sure which ones would be best served for this project. So here I am fixing this pallet up, taking the nails out, trying to use those again for other projects, and also the nails I couldn't pull out, I'm trying to drive down into the wood, and then I'll replace this with new boards to make it look nice and even. I've fast forwarded this process up so it won't take all day. The next step was actually getting out my Sawzall and trying it out for the first time, and I was very pleased with how it worked. You know, before I was just using hammers and pry bars and trying to pry these pallets apart, but this was much easier. The only drawback is you can't save the nails because you're cutting right through them. Good to have a good magnet when you're losing nails. Don't want to get one of these in the mower later. So I'm actually getting these old nails out of some of these pallets, the ones that I don't cut with the Sawzall. And I'm actually able to use these old nails when I nail them back in. I'm filling in the gaps in between some of the pallets along the fence. One, to to keep the dogs from squeezing through the pallet and getting in the garden and running around and tearing things up. Yeah, it looks better just aesthetically. It's going to look nicer and hopefully keep the varmints out. And one other step I had to do was boards I took out of some pallets were much longer than the gaps that I had to fill in from another pallet. So I would have to measure and cut down the boards, cut them off an inch or two, make everything fit nice and even. So there was, got the skill saw out, cut off a lot of boards. So I was using a Sawzall, a skill saw, and then mostly just hammers to do this project. And then once I got the boards cut to the right length, I could fill in the gaps. And I was very pleased with this process. It made each pallet look really nice. What we like about it is the wood is different colors coming from each pallet, so it actually gave a really nice look when each pallet was done. And we don't plan on painting this. We like the actual wood color, and I did not fill in the gaps to all the pallets. Some of the pallets, the gaps weren't very big at all, so I didn't bother filling in the gaps to each and every single pallet. But after this, I carried it over, ready to line it all up. Now, lining up all the pallets, it looks easy, but actually it wasn't. It was like putting a big puzzle together. Once I lined them all up, then I kind of walked around and looked at everything, and I would switch out 2 pallets, move one to the other side and one back, just to try to, we were trying to find out which pallets looked best up against each other. And I also got to mention the other tool that I use probably more than any other was just my cordless power drill, because once we line these pallets up, what we're going to do is take a T-post, drive down, and the T-posts are all going to be screwed into each pallet. So 1 T-post, sometimes 2 T-posts for each pallet.
Hey guys, hopefully y'all can hear me over this wind, but I want to show you what my amazing husband is doing. So you've seen him working, pulling pallets apart, carrying pallets over here. Let me show you what he's working on. So this is an example of what he's trying to accomplish. So we're going to put a fence around our garden using these pallets, hopefully to keep the critters out, mostly the dogs. But he is working on pulling some pallets apart to fill in some of the larger gaps on these pallets, and it really makes for a really, really cool looking fence panel. So here's another one that he's done. I just love the different tones of wood. It's just gonna look so, so neat. So the idea is to create a border, like I said, to protect our garden from our dogs, but we're also going to have a large walkway going through here, not only to be able to access the garden, but also hopefully to have space to maybe do some container gardening as well.
So like I said, once we lined them up, I would find out that some pallets needed more work, so I would have to nail a few more boards in just to make everything look as the way we want it. And then as we start setting them up one by one, again, we're taking a T-post and I'm trying to drive it in where it matches up with a board going down the back side where I can screw as many screws into it. And sometimes I would actually have to take 2 T-posts for each pallet. Again, I don't want a strong wind to blow this down, so I want to make sure it's very secure. So here we're just installing the T-post. And then I just used regular wood screws. These are the light duty T-posts that have holes that go through the center of them, which turned out to be perfect because the screws could go right through the holes in the T-post, right into the wood, hold it very secure. And then one final step that I didn't show in the video is after all of these were put up, if the pallets weren't exactly lined up, I would take a little piece of wood and actually screw into the back side of one pallet and then the back side of the next pallet next to it, and it would, 2 pallets being screwed together actually line them up and make them look like they're standing even next to each other.
All right, so this is what we've got so far. Jack is doing an amazing job putting this fence together. This hopefully will keep our dogs out. So now he said he's going to work on this side. We got this awesome gate from our in-laws. My father-in-law had this gate on the farm. He said he has no plans to use it, and it works perfectly for what we need.
He gave it to us. All we had to do was to go buy these hinges. I've already put 2x4s in the end of this, so I'm just gonna put these in and we'll have a gate.
Yeah, a really awesome gate.
So yeah, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, guys, here's the progress so far.
I wanted to put the gate up so I would know where this needs to be to start this wall. So I wanted this wall, the gate, and then this wall, because I want those. These are the ones we're going to see from the house. These are the ones we're going to be looking at. And then these 2 back walls, we're just going to try to square them up best we can, because pallets are not going to be exact. And again, I've never put up a fence, so we're just doing it the best way we can.
Yep, and it's looking really, really good. Really, really excited.
And so the plan is, once this is all up, and if you've noticed, this is going to be the outside on this wall and on this wall over here. But these 2 back walls, since this faces the edge of our property, and we're never really going to be looking at the nice view of all the nice wood pallets, these 2 back walls, these are going to be facing in toward the garden. So when we walk in the garden, we can see the nice wood of the pallets. And then when we leave the garden, we can see the nice outside wood of the pallets. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then, once all that's up, notice I put a lot of walking space right here. This is all going to be mulched. We're going to have room for flower pots, for shepherd's hooks, maybe a bench or a lawn chairs or something out here. We'd come out here and sit and pick tomatoes and just enjoy it.
Yeah. And
then after the walls were put up, we had a load of mulch delivered. This is, they called it natural playground mulch. It's not dyed. A storm was coming, so we had to hurry and try to spread this mulch out as quickly as possible. And we found out we really need a wheelbarrow because we don't have one, and that would have been very helpful. But the whole family came out. It was everybody helping. And we actually did get done just as the rain began to hit. And it actually stormed that night. The wind blew very hard, and the walls did not waver one bit. I was really worried, but we put them up nice and sturdy. So we were very pleased with that. And one thing I will say is once this project was completed, turns out I still have about a dozen pallets left over. So I still have extra wood pieces. I got a lot of great 2x4s out of this. So I've got a lot of good spare wood in case I have other projects, which I'm sure I will. They'll be coming up soon.
Okay, friends, I am super pumped to introduce you guys to what we are affectionately calling Fort Freedom. Welcome to our garden. All right, follow me. Okay, so this, as you saw, took a long time. Jackie started out by laying out the pallets, figuring out lengths and widths, and one of the things that he did that actually turned out to be very, very beautiful is to fill in some of the gaps he put into other pieces of wood. And so we have some panels that have just beautiful different tones, and it looks so nice. We love the rustic look of natural wood, so we have no plans at all of painting or covering up this wood. Also want to point out the gate. So Jack's dad has a farm, and he invited us to come out and kind of rummage to see if there was anything that we could use. And he had this gate, and it fits perfectly. Come on in. Not only did we put up the fence and the gate, but we also ordered some mulch. This is, they call it playground mulch, but basically it's just natural wood chips. And so we've got several loads. We're hoping to get more in the future. We're on a list to get a chip drop, and so we're hoping that comes through for us, so we'll see. So as Jack said earlier, he left lots of space not only for us to walk around, but also for us to have just like little areas that we can enjoy the garden area. We're planning on doing some, we're planning on doing a seating area. We'll have container gardens. And I'm most likely going to have some sort of tote or storage container to keep some of my tools in. But yeah, this is the space. And we also plan on putting some lights out here just for even more enjoyment. So this is definitely not only our garden area, but it's really an extension of our home. It's going to be a living area as well.
So like Tangi said, this is not just something for our garden. This is going to be a huge kind of extension of our house, of our homestead. This is going to be an area where we may have some seating out there, a little sitting area where you can come out and read a book, or possibly just do some of your work on your laptop or something and just sit out there in the garden area.
Lunch.
Yeah.
Have my coffee for sure.
Yeah.
Every morning when it's nice.
So we're right here by the house, so you can see the final product out here, and then right here you can see all of our raised beds. So we've got our raised bed area, all of the stuff growing here, herb garden in this tire, and then on over to the in-ground garden with the big pallet fence. So this was a cool project. This was a very cool project, and we were excited to be able to create something this big. And I did all this in 5 days with nothing more than a hammer and a skill saw and a sawzall and a drill. I did all of this with just about 3 tools that I bought at Harbor Freight and a whole bunch of screws and a whole lot of hammering. My son did help me out a lot. He helped me sort through all those pallets and pull the nice ones out to put the fence up. And again, big shout out to Little Acres Homestead.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we can't thank them enough for bringing us this and allowing me to get this big project done.
Yeah, it's awesome and it's beautiful, and I can't wait for things to just really start taking off and flourishing in the garden.
Yeah. So it just so happens, because of the virus and everybody having to stay home and everything, it was a blessing in disguise for us to have the time to actually create all of this before everything started growing and producing in our garden. So it gave us the time to work on it and get the project done.
This would have taken you the whole summer of your days off to get completed.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that
I did it in 1 week.
1 week.
1 week.
And it's amazing.
Yeah. So there's a recliner inside with my name on it, and I'm gonna go get me a big old jug of sweet tea, and I'm just going to rest for about 3 days. Yeah. But I really look for, we're gonna decorate this more again with the solar lights, and she might have some stuff to hang on the walls, maybe some little flower.
Yeah, thinking about maybe doing some baskets, some like window boxes, and put some flowers in there, but we'll see. It'll all come together slowly but surely.
And we love the rustic feel. So, I mean, we weren't looking at doing something super nice. I mean, the pallets were free. And again, we just think it's cool. This old rustic look.
And it's going to keep the dogs out.
Yeah, to keep our dogs, I mean, our dogs running around playing, and they love to run through the garden and sometimes start digging. So this is really going to prevent that.
Yes, thankfully.
Yeah.
So that's all we've got for you guys today. We hope you enjoyed this video, and you will be seeing this and a lot of videos coming up. So just remember to be vigilant, be prayerful, and be prepared. Bye, guys.
See ya.
What makes your garden grow? Water and sunshine. What makes your spirit grow? Knowing that she'll be mine.